The Liberal government's forthcoming legislation on online harms will cover specific categories of content, including deepfakes. However, it's unclear under Canadian criminal law whether the non-consensual sharing of intimate images falls in that category. Conservative MP Michelle Rempel-Garner says that there are examples of Canadian women who have also faced this issue, not just celebrities like Taylor Swift. Joining us now to discuss the debate about deepfakes is Brendan Caldwell, Director at Caldwell Securities Ltd. Brendan, thank you very much for being with us.
Well, how do you know I'm with you, David? I could be a deepfake.
There we go. That's it. I mean, on that note, can you explain to us or walk us through what exactly a deepfake is?
Well, it's the combination of the deep learning and fake into one single word. The idea is that you can take images, voices at a level that really had not been seen before, and make it appear as real as possible, that the person that you're seeing, the voice that you're hearing, is actually the person and not an avatar, a computer-generated image. So it is becoming increasingly troublesome, not just personally, but professionally, in terms of security and particularly financial security.
Yeah, let's dive into that. What do we know about the risks of fraud, things like identity theft with deepfakes?
Well, there was a spectacular example out of Hong Kong, allegedly, where a treasurer at a big corporation received an email from his CFO to wire $35 million. And he was naturally suspicious, but then he got a note that, we're going to have a conference call with all the people involved and the CFO. And he got on the conference call, and for all intents and purposes, it looked like and sounded like the CFO was telling him to go and do and send this money. And then he went and sent it, but it turned out the CFO and the whole phone call was in fact a deep fake. So how do you actually deal with that? There has to be some equivalent of two-factor identification. Like when you're logging on to a website, the site might send a message to your cell phone and say, is this really you? How a person would do that is taking the existing information you already know about the person, not responding to the email that you received, but if you receive an email, just call them on their phone. It is unlikely, although I'm an investment advisor, not a tech guru, but it is unlikely that the person who sent you the fake will also have tapped into your phone and be able to generate it, the AI, if it's a call that you initiated. If it's a call that they initiate, if everything comes externally into you, then you could end up like the poor treasurer out of Hong Kong. So to counteract it, you really need to initiate a contact from your end with information you already have, not information you've received that looks a little bit off.
And when we see groundbreaking new technology like this, it can be pretty scary. You've highlighted a pretty scary example. But what excites you about this potential opportunity? What are some of the positives?
Oh, there's tremendous positives. I mean, like with any tool, there are risks, but it's also very difficult to know how we're going to use them. It was famously said of personal computers in the 70s and early 80s that, well, you could keep recipes on them. Or in the 90s, it was said that, well, you can't make money on the internet, as though you can make money any other way at this point. But it goes further back than that, to gas engines replacing steam engines, for steam engines replacing the horse. And it takes a long time for a society to assimilate a new technology. Going back to the horse, it took 40 years before the internal combustion engine replaced horse-drawn everything. At least, actually more than that in some areas. So it's not surprising that every new technology, every new adaptation takes a while. So with this, it's a tool that can actually remove some of the more mundane functions. And people think, oh no, this or that or the other job will be at risk. And in a sense it will, but more in a sense that the higher value parts of the job, the actual advice, giving part of the job becomes more at a premium, I think personal service by an actual human being will become the new luxury commodity. Because I do think, in my business at least, people, it's not so much about which mutual fund you should buy or which stock you should buy. It's about having another human being actually hear your story and be able to relate and help you with real human advice. Now, so I mean, I think how we're using the AI is, I mean, there can be simple things like, you helped to craft my Super Bowl invitation last year. It still needs a little work, but it can do some of the more mundane things, allowing people to do the more high-end things, which is probably the reason they got into whatever profession they're in the first place.
Brennan, thank you very much for joining us today. Really appreciate it.
David, thank you.
Stay with us. We will be right back.